Hey everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at some really cool vocabulary.
Yeah, really interesting stuff.
Yeah, so the inspiration for this deep dive is a podcast episode that I listened to. It was called "If You Know These 15 Words, Your English is World Class."
Bold statement.
Very bold, yeah. So we're gonna put that to the test and look at some of these words and see if they live up to the hype.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really about being, world class or showing off. It's more about just having the right tools for the job, right? If all you have is a hammer, everything's going to look like a nail.
Exactly, yeah.
So having a good vocabulary just allows you to articulate your thoughts in more precise ways.
Yeah, I love that analogy.
Yeah.
The right tool for the job. Very cool. So let's jump into it, shall we? The first word that caught my attention was ambivalent. The podcast defined it as having mixed feelings about something. The example they gave was she felt ambivalent about moving to a new city. Pretty relatable, I think.
Yeah.
But why use ambivalent instead of just saying unsure or something like that?
Well, ambivalent suggests this kind of like simultaneous pull in two different directions.
Okay.
Where you're acknowledging that both sides have their own validity.
Yeah.
It's sort of like you're weighing the pros and cons and you're aware of that internal struggle.
Gotcha. So it's not just about the outcome.
Right.
It's about the process of deciding.
Yeah, it's like, hey, this is complex, and my feelings are too.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Have you ever been in a situation where ambivalent would perfectly describe that feeling?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think we all have.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's look at benevolent meaning, well-meaning and kindly. The example was the organization's benevolent mission is to help underprivileged children.
Yeah.
So this seems pretty straightforward, but what makes this word unique?
It's got a lot of depth to it, I would say.
Okay.
It's not just about surface level niceness.
Right.
It suggests a much deeper kind of seeded goodness.
Okay.
A genuine desire to have a positive impact.
I see. Kind of altruism in action, radiating outwards.
It's like saying someone has a benevolent aura or something like that.
Exactly.
It says a lot about their character.
Exactly. You're not just being nice to be nice. You're being nice because you truly want to help.
Right. Exactly. Okay. This next word I really like, conspicuous, meaning standing out in a way that can't be ignored. The example was her red dress was conspicuous in a sea of black suits.
Yeah.
Very visual.
Yeah.
But what is it about conspicuous that makes it different than just saying noticeable or obvious?
Well, it's attention grabbing. It's not just about being different. It's about owning that difference, sometimes even a little bit defiantly.
Ooh, I like that. So it's about being comfortable standing out from the crowd.
Yeah, think of those times you see someone who's conspicuously themselves, whether it's their sense of style or their opinions, they're not trying to blend in, they're making a statement.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. This next one seems a little bit more straightforward. Cumbersome.
Yeah.
Meaning large, heavy, and difficult to manage. The example was the box was too cumbersome to lift alone.
Right.
So this seems like a very practical word.
Yeah.
Less about nuance.
I mean, it definitely applies to physical objects, but you can also use it metaphorically to talk about a cumbersome process or a cumbersome bureaucracy.
Gotcha.
It evokes this feeling of weight, difficulty, something that's slowing you down.
Right. It's not just about the size. It's about the burden.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. All right, this next word, I think, is a bit more quirky, maybe eccentric.
Yeah.
Meaning unconventional and perhaps a little strange. The example they gave was his eccentric style made him unforgettable.
Yeah.
But what is it about eccentric that makes it positive and not just weird?
I think it depends a lot on the context.
Okay.
Eccentric can be, charmingly unique, or it can be a little off-putting.
Sure.
But I think the key is to emphasize that individuality. Okay.
That creativity, that willingness to kind of break the mold.
Right. So it's not about being weird just for the sake of being weird.
Right.
It's about
embracing their true selves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So think of someone that you describe as eccentric. What makes them stand out in a good way?
It could be something like, their unique style, or maybe they have an unusual collection that they're really passionate about. It's about adding that splash of color to the world.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. It's about celebrating the people that bring something different to the table.
Exactly.
Who challenge the norm. Yeah. Okay. I'm starting to see why they call these world-class words.
Yeah.
They definitely have more nuance than just a simpler synonym.
Absolutely. They add a layer of meaning that really enriches how we express ourselves.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's move on to epiphany, which refers to a sudden profound realization. The example they gave was she had an epiphany about her career path while on vacation.
Classic.
Yeah. Have you ever had like a vacation epiphany or something? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I feel like that's when they hit you the most.
Yeah.
When you're relaxed and you're not thinking about work or whatever, and then boom. Yeah, it's that aha moment, right?
Right.
Everything just clicks into place
Yeah.
like a light bulb going off.
Exactly. So what is it about epiphany that makes it a better word to use than just saying realization or insight?
I think it really captures that suddenness,
Okay.
that feeling of everything falling into place at once.
Yeah.
It's not just a gradual understanding, it's a breakthrough.
Yeah. So I think for our listeners, what this means is that those aha moments, that they might be hiding in unexpected places.
Right.
So take a break,
Yeah.
go on vacation.
Sometimes you need to step away from a problem
Exactly.
to gain some clarity.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. This next one I thought was interesting. Fortuitous meaning, happening by chance. Oft in a positive way, their meeting was completely fortuitous, but led to a great partnership.
Right.
So what makes fortuitous different than just saying lucky? Well, I think fortuitous implies this sense of perfect timing.
Okay.
As if fate kind of nudged things in the right direction.
Okay.
It's not just about random luck. It's about those moments where things align in a surprisingly beneficial way.
I see. So it's about recognizing that sometimes things unexpectedly fall into place.
Right.
Yeah.
And lead to something great.
Exactly. And appreciating those
That's
moments.
ours.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Imperative, meaning critically important. Their example was, it is imperative that you arrive on time.
Mm-hmm.
What a statement.
Yeah, there's no messing around with that one.
Yeah. So what makes imperative stronger than just saying important or necessary?
I think it conveys urgency.
Okay.
It's not a suggestion. It's a necessity.
Right.
There's no negotiation there.
It's like saying you should do this versus you absolutely have to do this.
Exactly. There's no room for debate.
Yeah.
You need to take action.
Okay. Let's move on to intrinsic, meaning inherent or essential. The example was curiosity is intrinsic to human nature. What makes intrinsic a powerful word?
Well, it refers to qualities that are inseparable from something's very essence.
Okay.
It's not added on, it's not learned. It's woven into the fabric of a thing.
I see.
It's a fundamental part of what it is.
So to say curiosity is intrinsic to us means that it's just part of being human.
Right. It's not a choice. It's in our DNA.
Yeah.
It drives us to learn and grow and make sense of the world.
Very cool. Okay, juxtapose meaning to place two things side by side for comparison. The example they gave was the artist juxtaposed light and dark colors to create contrast.
Yeah.
So this seems very useful in creative fields, but does it have any broader applications?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
Juxtaposing is all about highlighting differences through contrast.
Okay.
And that can be powerful in art, in writing, even in critical thinking and decision making.
I see.
It's about seeing things in a new light.
Yeah.
By comparing and contrasting them.
It's like holding up two different pieces of fabric to see how their colors play off each other.
Right. Or comparing different viewpoints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To see where they agree and where they differ.
Exactly. Yeah. Very cool. Okay. Lament, meaning to express grief or regret. The example was, she lamented the loss of her childhood home.
Mm-hmm.
This is a pretty heavy word.
Yeah, it is.
What makes lament different than just sadness?
Well, lament goes beyond just feeling sad.
Okay.
It's about expressing profound loss and sorrow,
Mm-hmm.
acknowledging the pain of something that's irretrievably gone.
Yeah. It carries a lot of weight.
It does.
So it's not just about feeling sad, but it's about expressing that sadness
Exactly.
in a way that...
Yeah, it's about honoring what's been lost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, nuance. This is a good one. Meaning, a subtle difference in meaning or expression. The example was the actor's performance captured every nuance of the character. What is it about nuance that makes it such a powerful word?
Well, it encompasses those subtle shades of meaning that can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Think of like the difference between a good performance and a truly captivating one.
Mm-hmm. Or a simple statement versus one that really resonates.
Yeah.
Just those tiny details.
It's about paying attention to those little shifts in tone.
Exactly.
And expression and meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Prudent meaning, acting with care and thought for the future. The example was, it's always prudent to save money for emergencies.
Yeah.
So this is about being sensible.
Right. It emphasizes a thoughtful approach to decision-making,
Okay.
especially with an eye on the long-term consequences.
Right.
It's about being smart and making choices that will benefit you down the road.
So it's like that saying an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Exactly.
It's about thinking ahead
Yeah.
to avoid those bigger problems.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Resilient, meaning able to bounce back from challenges. The example was the community was resilient after the natural disaster.
Right.
So this is about overcoming adversity.
It is. It speaks to that inner strength
Okay.
that allows us to adapt and overcome.
Yeah.
And it's not about avoiding hardship. It's about having the fortitude to pick yourself up and keep going.
It's about bending without breaking
Exactly.
and learning from those tough experiences.
Right. And coming out stronger on the other side.
Exactly. Yeah. And last but not least, zealous, meaning having great energy and enthusiasm in pursuit of a cause. The example was she was zealous in advocating for environmental issues. So this is about that fire in your belly.
It describes that intense dedication,
Yeah.
that fervent enthusiasm for something that you believe in.
Mm-hmm.
It's about being fully committed to making a difference.
Yeah. So it's about that driving force
Exactly.
that pushes you to fight for what you believe in.
Yeah. Passion fuels action,
Mm-hmm.
and action leads to progress.
Well said. So we've unpacked a lot of powerful words here.
We have.
But now the question for our listeners is, how do you actually integrate these world-class words into your everyday vocabulary?
Right.
It can't just be about memorizing definitions.
No, it starts with awareness.
Okay.
Start noticing these words when you encounter them in books or movies or conversations. Yeah.
And then consciously try using them yourself
Okay.
in your own speaking and writing.
So make them your own.
Yeah, it's like working a muscle.
Right.
The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Exactly. And the more comfortable you'll feel using them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so listeners, you heard it here first. It's time to unleash your inner word nerd
Yeah.
and put these power words into action.
And remember, this is a lifelong journey.
Right?
There's always more to learn and explore in the vast world of language.
I love that. Okay, so now that we've explored these 15 world-class words, I'm curious, what are some other words you think could be considered in this category? And are there words in other languages that capture concepts that English struggles with?
That's a great question. And one that we might need to save for another deep dive. But I encourage all of you to think about it.
Yeah.
Explore the richness of language and keep expanding your vocabulary.
Yeah.
Because words have a profound impact on our thoughts, our understanding, and our world.
Absolutely well said. Yeah. It really is a fascinating idea to think about, like, other languages having words
Yeah.
that maybe English doesn't quite have a perfect translation for.
Yeah. And it makes you think, like, how does that shape their worldview?
Yeah.
If they have a word for a concept that we don't even have a word for.
Right.
But speaking of interesting words, I wanted to kind of revisit a couple of these world-class words that we've talked about
Okay, sure.
that really stuck out to me. One of them was fortuitous, which we talked about, meaning happening by chance, often in a positive way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's more than just luck.
Right. It's not just like, you won the lottery. It's got this element of destiny to it.
Right.
Sort of like serendipity, these chance encounters that can change the course of your life.
It's like even amid uncertainty.
Right.
There's this like hidden order or something.
Yeah, guiding hand maybe.
Yeah, leading you to these unexpected opportunities.
Exactly. And I think it's a really nice way to look at the world because it encourages us to embrace the unexpected.
Yeah.
To see the potential for good even when things don't go according to plan.
Yeah, I love that. Makes me think of that quote, like everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Right, exactly.
It's like, how do you respond to that?
Yeah. Are you resilient?
There you go. Perfect segue. So resilient was another one that really stuck out to me.
Yeah.
Meaning able to bounce back from challenges.
Yeah, we all face setbacks, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And this word just embodies that human ability to bounce back, to adapt.
It's about harnessing that inner strength,
Absolutely.
to overcome those challenges, to dust yourself off and keep moving forward.
Yeah, and I think it's important to remember that resilience isn't about suppressing your emotions or pretending that everything's fine.
Right.
It's about acknowledging the difficulty, learning from it, and using that experience to grow stronger.
So it's not about being invincible.
Right.
It's about becoming more adaptable.
Exactly.
More flexible in the face of life's ups and downs.
Yeah, you're going to get knocked down, but you got to get back up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that kind of ties into what we were talking about earlier with mastering vocabulary. It's not just about
Right.
sounding smart.
Exactly. It's about expanding your capacity for thought.
Right.
For nuanced understanding, for expressing yourself with clarity and connecting with others on a deeper level.
It's about wielding language as a tool
Yes.
to, build stronger relationships, to communicate more effectively,
Right.
to contribute to the world in a positive way.
It's a superpower.
It is. We're all superheroes.
Yeah.
With our words as our superpower.
And the best part is anyone can develop this superpower.
That's right.
It just takes effort and curiosity.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, so I want to kind of revisit that thought-provoking question that you asked earlier.
Oh, you mean about whether there are words in other languages that express things that English maybe struggles with?
Yes, exactly.
It's a really fascinating idea, right?
Yeah.
To think that there might be these whole universes of meaning out there that we haven't even begun to grasp because our language doesn't have the words for them.
It's a very humbling thought.
It is.
But also really exciting.
Yeah.
To think that there's all this stuff out there to learn. And that maybe we can learn to see the world differently by learning these new words.
Exactly.
I was thinking about a couple of examples, like the word saudade in Portuguese.
Oh, yeah.
Which expresses this deep longing.
Yeah, for something or someone that's absent.
Right, we're like ikigai in Japanese, which is about finding your purpose and joy in life.
Yeah, beautiful example.
These are these complex feelings
Right.
that English can only really describe with phrases or explanations.
Exactly, and these words just capture them so perfectly.
It makes you wonder what other amazing words are out there
Right.
waiting to be discovered.
What new insights and perspectives could they offer?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a great place to kind of transition to our next part of this deep dive. Yeah, so I think we can give our listeners a little challenge.
Oh, a challenge. I like it.
To kind of put this into practice. So we've talked about how English, like any language, has its limits, right? So I challenge you to find one word, just one in another language that truly captivates you.
Okay.
A word that expresses a concept or emotion that you feel like English just can't quite capture.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that.
So dive into its origins, its nuances, how it's used in its original language, explore its cultural context.
Yeah.
And then when you've uncovered its richness, share it with the world.
What a fantastic way to celebrate linguistic diversity.
Right.
It's a reminder that there's always more to learn, more ways to see the world through the lens of language.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe we'll uncover some new world-class words along the way.
I have no doubt we will.
So to all our listeners out there, I say this, embrace your inner word nerd.
Yes.
Go forth and explore the vast and wondrous world of language. There are treasures waiting to be discovered.
And remember, the quest for linguistic mastery never truly ends.
Yeah.
It's a journey filled with endless fascination and enrichment.
Well said. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those vocabularies expanding.